The commander stood, tossing a few bills onto the table. He gave a short nod. "Don't go." "They're waiting." 2 men, across the street by the blue sedan. They haven't taken their eyes off this diner for 20 minutes. One keeps touching something under his jacket. They're not cops and they're not locals. They're watching you specifically. They timed their arrival 5 minutes after yours. It's a setup, Commander. I'm sure of it. His hand froze on the door. He turned slowly, looked back at the waitress. "The back office. Now, show me what you see. And don't make it obvious. Just act like you're clearing my table." "Describe them. Height, build, clothing, anything. You said they're not locals. How do you know? This is a military town. Half the people here aren't locals. What makes them different from every other contractor or off-duty guy grabbing a late-night coffee? I need specifics, not just a feeling. A feeling can get you killed. Details save your life." She pointed through the grimy office window, her finger steady, her voice calm. "The man on the left, his watch is a Garmin Tactics Delta. Standard issue for special ops. The man on the right, his boots are scuffed in a way that suggests urban tactical training, not regular wear. They're trying to look casual, but they're failing. Their posture is all wrong for just waiting around. They're coiled, ready to spring." She scanned the street again. Her eyes narrowed, focused on a parked vehicle. "And that's not all. There's a white utility van that's been circling the block every night this week, always between 2200 and 2300 hours. It has government plates, but the font on the lettering is wrong. The G is too rounded. It's a subtle fake, but it's definitely fake. I saw it park down the street just before you came in tonight." He pulled out his phone, dialed a secure number, waited for the connection. "It's Thorne. I'm outside the base. Possible surveillance. 2 hostiles, plus a suspicious van with what looks like forged government plates." He paced the small office, listened to the voice on the phone, scowled. "With all due respect, Captain, this isn't paranoia. The waitress here is ex-military intelligence. She spotted tactical gear and forged plates. This feels coordinated, professional. It's not reporters. They don't use fake government plates to get a story. This is something else. Something you need to take seriously before I walk out that door and into an ambush." He stopped pacing, ran a hand over his face, exhaled in frustration. "Stand down, Commander. You've been on edge since the last deployment. I'll send a patrol car to sweep the area. Don't engage." "A patrol car? That's it? You're treating a potential Tier 1 operator threat like a noise complaint. You didn't ask for descriptions. You didn't ask for the plate number I have. You just told me to stand down. Why are you shutting this down so quickly, Captain Rostova? Is there something about my team's security you're not telling me?" The line went silent for a beat, a faint crackle of static. Her tone shifted. "I am your commanding officer, Damien. You will follow my orders without question. The patrol is on its way. Stay inside the diner until they arrive. That is a direct order." "Don't make me repeat myself. We are done here. Rostova, out." The waitress hung up her apron. Her eyes darted to the counter. She froze. "Wait a minute. I remember now. The man on the right, the one with the boots. He was in here last Tuesday. Sat right at the counter. He was asking my co-worker, Sally, about the schedules for the SEAL teams. When they ship out, when they get back. Sally thought he was just a fan, some military buff. But he was gathering intelligence." She grabbed her phone, rushed back to the office, found Damien ending his call. "Commander, one of them was here before. He was asking about your team's schedule. This is a targeted operation. They know your routine." Damien flipped open his encrypted laptop, typed in a string of complex passwords. Okay, give me the plate number from the van. You said the font was off. That means it won't be in a standard DMV search, but it might ping a flag on a federal watch list if they've used it before. These guys are professional enough to forge plates, but sloppy enough to reuse them. People get lazy. They make mistakes. I'm counting on that. He typed the numbers and letters, hit enter, watched the search algorithm run. The system is searching. If this plate is a known fake, we'll get a hit. If not, they're ghosts. Let's see what we've got. The plate doesn't exist. Not in any state DMV database, not in the federal system, not even on a watch list for known forgeries. It's a complete ghost. These guys are better than I thought. They didn't just slap a fake plate on a van. They created a non-existent identity for the vehicle. That takes resources, Commander. Serious resources. Damien's jaw tightened. His eyes scanned the empty search results. He leaned back. This is escalating quickly. A ghost plate means this isn't a small-time operation. It means they have inside access or a high-level forger. It suggests state-sponsored or a major corporate player. This is way above the pay grade of a couple of disgruntled contractors. They're trying to isolate me, and my own CO is stonewalling. He called his second-in-command, put the phone on speaker, stared at the screen. Marcus, it's Damien. I'm at the diner off base. I'm being surveilled. 2 men. Professional setup. I think there's a serious breach in our security protocols. Someone knows my schedule, my routines. How is that possible? We just updated our entire digital security suite last month. Who has access to my off-base movements? I need answers now. Marcus Vance's voice was calm, almost too calm. He sounded concerned but distant. Easy, Damien. Probably just some private investigators for that messy divorce you went through last year. Don't spin up. Remember what Rostova said about keeping a low profile. You're seeing shadows everywhere. I'll check the logs, but I guarantee you it's nothing. Just some civilian nonsense. Let the local cops handle it. You said it's probably civilian nonsense, but you also mentioned it could be contractors earlier when we spoke. I never said they looked like contractors. I said they were professional. That's a very specific word you used, Marcus. How would you know what they look like? Are you watching me on a security feed right now? What aren't you telling me? A brief pause on the line. A muffled sound. A cough. His tone sharpened. Don't be ridiculous, Damien. It was a figure of speech. Everyone out here is either military or a contractor. It was a logical assumption. You're wound too tight. Captain Rostova was right. You need to take some leave. You're letting the job get to you. I'm looking at the base perimeter cams now, and I see nothing. The waitress, Clara, held up her phone, showed him a zoomed-in picture. I got a better look at the van when it circled again. The driver was wearing a Crye Precision plate carrier, the G3 combat shirt in multicam. That's the exact model your unit was issued 3 months ago. I remember because my brother was in DevGru, and he complained about how long the order took. It's not standard issue for anyone else yet. Damien grabbed his laptop, typed furiously, opened another secure connection. I'm accessing the base armory requisitions log. If someone checked out that specific gear, their name will be on this list. Let's see who's playing dress-up. He scrolled through the digital logs, examined every recent equipment issue. He stopped. Here it is. 4 sets of Crye G3 combat gear, signed out 2 days ago by Lieutenant Commander Marcus Vance. The reason cited is a classified joint training exercise with a unit that doesn't exist. The authorization signature is Captain Rostova's, but it looks digitized. It's a copy-paste. This whole requisition is a fabrication. Vance lied to me. He's directly involved. He slammed the laptop shut, stood up, grabbed his keys from the table. He armed them. My own SIC armed a team to come after me. I need to get back on base. I'm going to confront him. Damien found Vance in the command center. He slammed the tablet on the desk. Explain this. A ghost training exercise. 4 sets of our newest gear, signed out under your name, with a forged signature from the captain. You armed the men who are outside that diner right now, waiting to take a shot at me. Who are you working for, Marcus? This is treason. You're finished. Start talking before I end you myself. Vance didn't even flinch. He picked up the tablet, swiped the screen, smiled faintly. It's a black op, Damien. Highly classified. You weren't read in because your psych profile is red-flagged. Rostova and I are running a counter-intel operation. The men outside are our own guys, testing your response. You failed. You involved a civilian. You broke protocol. The paperwork is real. The captain will confirm it. You just blew your career. You're telling me this is an authorized operation? A test? You put a live surveillance team on me, armed them with our gear, and faked your requisition logs as a loyalty test? That's the most ridiculous story I've ever heard. You're claiming this entire conspiracy is just a drill, and Captain Rostova signed off on this? I don't believe you for a second. Vance leaned back in his chair, crossed his arms. His eyes were cold. Believe what you want. The operation is real. The threat is real. We're using you as bait to draw out a mole. The men outside are protecting you, not targeting you. Your paranoia is jeopardizing the entire mission. Go see Rostova. She'll tell you the same thing. You're a pawn in a much bigger game, Damien. You just don't see the board. Clara wiped down a recently vacated table. Her hand brushed against something hard. She found a small, black case wedged between the seat cushions. It looked like a key fob. She popped it open. Inside was a tiny circuit board and a magnetic clasp. It was a GPS tracker. The man who was asking about SEAL schedules must have dropped it. He wasn't just gathering intel, he was preparing to plant a tracking device. She pulled out her phone, snapped a picture, sent it to Damien with a message. Commander, the man from last week dropped this. It's a GPS tracker. The brand is Ethelred. Does that mean anything to you? Damien received the photo. The name Ethelred made his blood run cold. Ethelred is the brand of tracker we use for our own covert ops. It's military grade, encrypted, and almost impossible to detect. If they have one of these, it means the leak is coming from inside our own supply chain. Vance's story about this being a test is falling apart. You don't use our most sensitive tech for a simple drill. This is real. He sprinted from the command center, headed for the parking lot. His mind raced. He's not testing me. He's hunting me. I need to check my truck. Now. He must have planted one on me already. He ran his hand under the chassis, felt the cold metal of the magnetic case. He found it, tucked deep inside the rear wheel well. The light was blinking faintly, signaling it was active. He ripped it off, stared at the device in his palm. It was identical to the one in Clara's photo. They had been tracking his every move for days, maybe weeks. His home, the base, the diner. They knew everything. He pulled out his tactical tablet, synced it with the tracker, bypassed the encryption. I'm in. Let's see where you've been reporting to. The data stream is live. It's pinging a server based out of Panama. He downloaded the tracker's data logs, analyzed the destination server's IP address. The server in Panama is a dead end, a ghost, but the upload protocol is familiar. It's a proprietary military software, modified to mask its origin. Only a handful of people have the clearance to use it, let alone alter it. Marcus Vance is one of them. Captain Rostova is another. This goes all the way to the top. They're using our own systems against me." He screenshot the data, emailed it to his private encrypted account, a safety measure. "I have the proof. Vance armed them. Rostova is covering for him. Now I need to know why. This isn't just a betrayal, it's a conspiracy." Damien stormed into Captain Rostova's office. He threw the tracker on her desk. "Vance planted this on my vehicle. It's our own tech, reporting to a ghost server using our software. He armed a hit team with our gear. And you're telling me this is a test? This is an assassination plot, and you are either complicit or criminally negligent." "Which is it, Captain? Who are you protecting? Him or me?" Rostova looked from the tracker to Damien. Her expression was unreadable, a mask of steel. "You are hysterical, Commander. Lieutenant Commander Vance is running a sanctioned counterintelligence operation. That tracker is a security measure. You have been flagged as a potential internal risk since your last mission report. We are monitoring you because we believe you may have been compromised. You are relieved of duty, effective immediately. Hand over your weapon. A security risk? I've served this country for 20 years. My record is spotless. You're relieving me of duty based on a secret investigation I was never informed of? This is a coup. You and Vance are trying to remove me. What did I get close to? What operation are you two running that you need me out of the picture so badly?" Her hand rested on her sidearm. Her gaze was unflinching. She stood her ground. "Your mission report from Syria contained inconsistencies. You omitted key details about civilian casualties. We have reason to believe you are covering something up, something that could compromise this entire unit. Until our investigation is complete, you are a liability. Now, for the last time, give me your weapon, Thorn." "That is a direct order." Clara swept the diner floor, found a crumpled receipt under the counter stool. It was from the man who dropped the tracker, a credit card receipt from an electronics store in the city. Most of it was faded, but the last 4 digits of the card number were clear, 8842. The name was smudged, looked like J. Smith, a common alias. But the card number was a concrete piece of evidence, a digital breadcrumb. She took a picture of the receipt, sent it to Damien's secure messaging app. "Commander, I found a credit card receipt. The name is fake, but I got the last 4 digits of the card, 8842. Maybe you can trace it." Damien saw the message, forwarded the number to a contact at the Treasury Department. "I need a trace on a credit card. Last 4 are 8842. The purchase was made at an electronics store in San Diego last Tuesday. The name on the slip was a probable alias. I need to know who owns this card. It's connected to a threat against a naval special warfare officer. This is a matter of national security. I need the information yesterday." He paced his small apartment. The walls felt like they were closing in. This card is the key. If I can link it to a real person, the whole conspiracy unravels. Vance and Rostova can't hide behind protocol forever. His phone buzzed. A message from his Treasury contact. He opened the file. The card is registered to a shell corporation called Aegis Tactical Solutions. It's a private military contractor based out of Delaware. They have no public contracts, no website, no physical address. It's a ghost company, used for laundering money and funding off-the-books operations. But the corporate charter is public record. I can find out who's on the board of directors. He jumped back on his laptop, searched for the Aegis corporate filings. The names loaded. This changes everything. This isn't just an internal plot. This is a shadow operation funded by a ghost corporation. Who the hell is Aegis Tactical? He combed through the list of board members, scrolled past unfamiliar names. Then one stopped him cold. No, it can't be. Admiral Jonathan Hayes, retired. He was the head of Naval Special Warfare Command for 10 years. He was also Captain Rostova's mentor. He personally sponsored her promotion to captain. This whole operation, it's being run by a retired admiral. Rostova isn't just covering for Vance, she's following orders from the top. He leaned back, stunned. The scope of the betrayal was staggering. It wasn't just his unit. Hayes is pulling the strings. He set up Aegis Tactical. He's using Rostova and Vance to eliminate me. But why? What did I see in Syria? He drove back to the base, used a secondary entrance, walked into Rostova's office unannounced. Aegis Tactical Solutions. Does that name ring a bell, Captain? It should. Your old mentor, Admiral Hayes, is on the board of directors. It's a ghost company, and their credit card was used by the man who was surveilling me. You're not running a counter-intel op. You're a corporate asset for a retired admiral. You've sold out your command. Rostova's face went pale. Her composure finally cracked. Her eyes darted to the door. You don't know what you're talking about. Admiral Hayes is a patriot. He approached me about a private security venture. Yes, but I declined. Aegis has nothing to do with this command. You are chasing ghosts and making dangerous accusations. Security, get him out of my office. He's been relieved of duty. A patriot? He's using active duty SEALs as his personal hit squad. You're letting him do it. You're giving him the gear, the intel, the operational cover. You declined his offer? I don't believe you. You're in this up to your neck. You chose a retired admiral's private army over one of your own men. This is your last chance to tell me the truth. Her hand trembled slightly as she reached for her desk phone. She looked trapped. I am the commander of this base. You are a disgraced officer under investigation. You have no authority here. Your accusations are baseless and insane. I'm warning you, Thorne. Leave now, or I will have you thrown in the brig for insubordination and threatening a superior officer. Don't throw your life away. Clara reviewed the security footage. She scanned the feed from last Tuesday night. She found him, the man who dropped the tracker. He was arguing with the van driver in the parking lot. The angle was poor, but for a few seconds, the driver's face was perfectly clear under the streetlight. He looked familiar. She zoomed in, enhanced the image, and took a screenshot. She didn't know who he was, but Damien might. She attached the photo to a new message, sent it with a single line. The driver of the van. I got a clean shot of his face. Hope this helps. Damien's phone chimed. He opened the image, his breath caught in his throat. I know this man. Cade Jennings, former SEAL, Team 3. He was dishonorably discharged 5 years ago for selling operational intelligence to a foreign government. He was a traitor. I was on the team that brought him in. But I never understood how he got the intel he sold. It was data that only a command-level officer could access. He opened another file on his laptop, a secure personnel database. Typed in the name. I'm pulling his service record. I want to see every detail of his court-martial. Who presided over it? Who signed the discharge papers? He scrolled through the court-martial documents. The digital signatures were all there. It all makes sense now. The officer who presided over Cade Jennings's trial, the one who recommended a lighter sentence in exchange for cooperation he never gave, the one who personally signed his discharge papers, was then Commander Eva Rostova. She ran the case against him. She knew exactly who he was, and she put him away. Now he's working for her and Hayes. He stared at the screen. The pieces clicked into place. A horrifying picture emerged. She didn't just put him away. She must have cut a deal with him then. Faked his conviction to turn him into a deniable asset. Damien walked back into Rostover's office. The guards at the door tried to stop him. He walked past them. Cade Jennings. Remember him? The traitor you court-martialed 5 years ago. He's the driver of the van surveilling me. He's working for Aegis. He's working for you. You didn't just let him walk, did you? You recruited him. He's been your asset all along, doing your dirty work. This whole time, you've had a traitor on your payroll. He threw a photo of Cade on her desk. It landed next to the tracker. This is over, Ava. You, Vance, Hayes. It's all coming down. You're running a private death squad off the books, and I was your next target. Cade Jennings is a ghost, a bitter ex-operator with a grudge against the Navy. And you. He's probably working for the highest bidder. His presence proves nothing, except that you have dangerous enemies. You're connecting dots that aren't there, Commander. You're building a conspiracy theory because you can't accept that you are the one under investigation. You're a liability. Her face was a mask of calm, but her eyes burned with a cold fire. You should have just walked out of that diner when I told you to. You should have trusted my orders. Now you've dragged yourself into something you can't possibly understand. You think you're a hero in a movie, but you're just a loose end. And loose ends always get tied up. Always. The annual award ceremony was in full swing, the base theatre packed with sailors in their dress whites. Retired Admiral Jonathan Hayes stood at the podium, a benevolent smile on his face as he spoke of honor and duty. Damien Thorne walked down the center aisle, his steps echoing in the sudden silence. He mounted the stage, taking the spare microphone. Lieutenant Commander Marcus Vance armed a team to assassinate a fellow SEAL. He used a forged requisition, signed out our unit's most advanced combat gear, and lied about a non-existent training exercise to cover his tracks. He did this on the orders of people in this room, betraying every oath he ever took. This wasn't a test. It was attempted murder, sanctioned from the top. The crowd gasped, a wave of murmurs spreading through the theater as phones emerged. This is an outrageous disruption. Commander Thorne has been relieved of duty due to psychological instability. Security, remove this man from the stage immediately. He is a danger to himself and this command. Damien held up his tablet, projecting the image onto the large screen behind the Admiral. This is the falsified gear requisition log, time-stamped 2 days before the attempt on my life. It lists 4 sets of Cry G3 combat gear, the exact kind worn by the men surveilling me. The signature for Captain Rostover is a digital forgery, a simple copy-paste job. Lieutenant Commander Vance personally signed out the gear for a ghost operation. Vance's face drained of color. His hands trembled as he gripped his chair. It was a sanctioned counter-intel drill. The paperwork was unorthodox, but the captain approved it. He's twisting the facts to fit his paranoid delusions. A young petty officer stood up from the third row, his voice shaking. I'm Petty Officer Cole from the Armory. Sir, I processed that request. Lieutenant Commander Vance told me the system was down and to push it through manually without logging it in the daily report. He said it was a direct order from Captain Rostover for a black op, and that if I mentioned it to anyone, I'd be facing a court-martial. Vance tried to shout him down, calling him a liar, a confused clerk. He's a junior enlisted man. He doesn't understand command-level authorizations. Commander Thorne is manipulating a subordinate to support his baseless and slanderous accusations. Damien turned the screen to a new image, a complex data stream map. And who authorized this operation? Captain Ava Rostover. She didn't just approve it, she actively covered it up. When I reported the threat, she stonewalled me, gaslit me, and then tried to have me relieved of duty. She used our own encrypted military software to help them track me, turning our security systems into a weapon against one of her own men. Phones flashed as the audience recorded, the murmurs growing into an angry buzz. "This is classified operational data. You are committing treason by displaying it publicly. I was monitoring a compromised officer, a security risk to this entire base. My actions were justified and will be vindicated." Damien pointed to a highlighted line of code on the screen behind him. "This is the tracker data from the device planted on my truck. It was reporting to a ghost server, but the upload protocol is a proprietary naval special warfare software. It was modified to mask its origin, a modification that requires command-level authorization. Only 2 people on this base have that access, Marcus Vance and Captain Eva Rostova." Rostova's jaw tightened, her knuckles white as she clutched the armrest. The software was flagged for a security audit. Any anomalies are part of that diagnostic. This proves nothing except his willingness to steal and misinterpret classified data. A woman in civilian clothes rose from the back of the theater. "My name is Anya Sharma. I'm the lead network security engineer for this base. Captain Rostova personally ordered me to create a masked data forwarding protocol 2 weeks ago, citing a red cell penetration test. She explicitly told me to bypass standard logging procedures and to report directly, and only, to her. It wasn't an audit. It was a custom-built back door." Rostova shot to her feet, her voice cracking. "She's a civilian contractor. She has no context for military operations." "She's the expert who designed the system you corrupted," Damien countered. "She knows exactly what she's looking at, and she has the logs to prove it." Damien swiped the tablet, showing a grainy photo of a man at a diner counter. "This conspiracy goes beyond this base. The men hunting me were funded by a shell corporation, a private military contractor called Aegis Tactical Solutions. One of their operatives used a corporate credit card to buy electronics for the surveillance op. He was gathering intelligence on my team's schedules, preparing a targeted strike. They weren't Navy, they were corporate mercenaries." The audience stared, shocked into silence by the accusation of corporate warfare. "Aegis Tactical is a respected security consulting firm," Admiral Hayes boomed from the podium. "They have no connection to this matter. The commander is inventing connections, creating a fantasy." Damien displayed a close-up of a crumpled credit card receipt on the main screen. This receipt was dropped by one of their operatives. The last 4 digits are 88842. A trace from the Treasury Department confirmed it belongs to Aegis Tactical Solutions. The purchase was for high-frequency transmitters, made the day before a tracking device was planted on my vehicle. This is the financial link. This is the proof they were funding the operation against me. Hayes's smile faltered, a flicker of panic in his eyes as he stepped back. Financial records can be faked. This is digital forgery, a desperate attempt to smear a decorated veteran and a patriotic American company. It's a fabrication. Clara, the waitress, stood near the side entrance, her voice clear and steady. "My name is Clara. I'm a waitress at the diner off base. That man on the screen, the one who dropped that receipt, he was in my diner. He sat at the counter for hours, asking my co-worker about Commander Thorne's team, their schedules when they shipped out. He wasn't a military buff. He was a spy. I saw him with my own eyes." Hayes scoffed, turning to the crowd. "A waitress? This is your star witness? A civilian with no credibility." "She's also ex-military intelligence," Damien stated calmly. "She spotted their tactical gear and their forged government plates. Her observations are the reason I'm alive today." He changed the image on the screen to Aegis Tactical's corporate charter. "And who sits on the board of this ghost company? Who is pulling the strings? None other than retired Admiral Jonathan Hayes. He founded Aegis the month after he retired. He's using his connections, his influence, and his former subordinates, Captain Rostova and Commander Vance, to run a private army, using active duty SEALs as pawns in his corporate game. A wave of shock rolled through the theater. Cameras flashed directly in the Admiral's face. "My business ventures are a matter of public record," Hayes sputtered, his face turning a blotchy red. "I advise many companies. This is a smear campaign by a disgruntled officer I once had to discipline." Damien projected the Aegis corporate filings, Hayes's signature clearly visible on the founding documents. "You didn't just advise them, Admiral. You created them. Aegis Tactical has no other contracts, no public footprint. It exists for one reason: to conduct off-the-books operations for your personal gain. You used it to fund a hit on a U.S. Navy SEAL commander. You are the head of the snake. This entire conspiracy leads directly to you." The Admiral's hands began to shake, his confident demeanor completely shattered. "These are lies, forgeries. I am a patriot. I have served this country for 40 years. This is character assassination of the highest order." A retired captain stood up in the front row, his face grim. "I'm Captain Miller. I was Admiral Hayes's executive assistant for his last 2 years at NavSpec Warcom. I remember him meeting with private financiers. He was always talking about post-service opportunities and leveraging assets. He specifically mentioned creating a deniable operations group that could act where the Navy couldn't. He called it his golden parachute. He's a bitter man I was forced to pass over for promotion, Hayes screamed. He's an officer with a spotless record who you tried to silence when he questioned your ethics, Damien countered. His testimony is a matter of record. Damien displayed a new photo. Cade Jennings, the traitor, behind the wheel of the van. To execute this operation, Admiral Hayes and Captain Rostova used a known traitor. Cade Jennings, formerly of SEAL Team 3, dishonorably discharged for selling intel. He was the driver of the surveillance van. They didn't just hire a mercenary, they reactivated a disgraced SEAL who held a personal grudge against me, because I was on the team that brought him in. Gasps of outrage erupted from the SEALs in the audience. The betrayal was absolute. "Jennings is a ghost," Rostova shouted, finding her voice. "He works for the highest bidder. His presence only proves the commander has dangerous enemies. Not that we hired him." Damien showed the court-martial documents for Cade Jennings on the giant screen. Here is the record of his trial, and here is the signature of the presiding officer who recommended a suspiciously lenient sentence. Then Commander Eva Rostova. She didn't just prosecute him, she cut a deal. She faked his conviction to turn him into her own private, deniable asset. He has been on her payroll, doing her dirty work, for 5 years. Rostova stumbled backward, her face ashen, her composure finally broken. It was a plea bargain, standard procedure. He was supposed to provide intelligence on his contacts. The deal fell through. I had nothing to do with him after that. A grizzled Master Chief rose from his seat, his eyes locked on Rostova. Master Chief Petty Officer Thorne, retired, Damien's father. I was on that review board. You argued for leniency, Commander Rostova. You said Jennings was a valuable potential asset. You convinced us to reduce the sentence. You never mentioned the deal fell through. You buried it. You protected a traitor then, and you're using him now. Rostova stared at him, speechless. You have no right. This is a family grudge. He has every right, Damien said, his voice cold as ice. He's a decorated veteran you lied to, just like you've lied to everyone else. Damien's face was grim. He clicked to the final set of files. But why? Why go to all this trouble? Because of what I saw in Syria. We were told our last mission was to neutralize a terrorist cell. But the intelligence was bad. We walked into an ambush, and the terrorists were local militia protecting a village from being wiped out by a chemical weapons strike, a strike ordered by Admiral Hayes's corporate partners to clear land for an oil pipeline. The room fell into a deathly silence. The air crackled with tension. "That is a monstrous lie," Hayes roared, pointing a trembling finger at Damien. "Our operations in Syria were to protect national security interests. He is fabricating a war crime to cover his own incompetence." The screen behind Damien changed to a satellite video feed, time-stamped from the mission. This is drone footage from that day. It shows the militia defending the village, not attacking. And here, he paused the video, zooming in. Are canisters bearing the logo of a chemical company, a subsidiary of the same corporation that funds Aegis Tactical. "You didn't send us to stop terrorists, Admiral. You sent us to be clean-up crew for your business partners." Hayes collapsed against the podium, his breath coming in ragged gasps. "The footage is doctored. It's fake, a deep fake. He's a traitor, working for foreign intelligence. He's trying to undermine our entire mission." A video call connected on the screen. A translator's voice filled the theater. "My name is Zara. I am from the village you see in that video. I am speaking from a refugee camp. Commander Thorne's team saved us. They saw the truth and disobeyed their orders. The other soldiers, the ones in the van, they were not Navy. They were mercenaries. They told us they were there to clear the area for a new pipeline. They were Admiral Hayes's men." Hayes shrieked, clawing at the podium. "A paid actor, a plant. She's lying." "She's a survivor," Damien said, his voice echoing with authority. "And she is one of 20 who are willing to testify before a war crimes tribunal." Damien displayed a series of bank statements on the screen, showing wire transfers. This isn't just about war crimes, it's about profit. Here are the bank records. Millions of dollars transferred from Aegis Tactical's offshore accounts directly to shell companies owned by Captain Rostova and Lieutenant Commander Vance. It wasn't about loyalty, it was blood money. Your price for betraying your country and selling out your own men. Vance and Rostova stared at the screen, their faces masks of pure horror. "My finances are private," Vance yelled desperately. "This is an illegal search. My family has money. This is an inheritance. It has nothing to do with any of this." The side door of the theater opened, and a man in a suit walked in. "I'm Agent Miller with the Treasury Department's Criminal Investigation Division. We've been tracking Aegis Tactical for 6 months. Those wire transfers are not inheritance, Commander Vance. They are direct payments for services rendered, laundered through 3 countries. We have the full transaction history. It's a clear case of bribery and conspiracy." Vance fainted, collapsing to the floor in a heap. Rostova began to sob. "He made me do it," she screamed, pointing at Hayes. "He promised me promotion, a command of my own. He said Thorne was a problem that needed to be handled." Damien looked at the Admiral, his eyes filled with contempt. "The final piece of the puzzle. You covered up a war crime, tried to kill me to ensure my silence, and betrayed every principle this uniform stands for, all for money. You leveraged your entire career, your reputation, your honor for a pipeline. You committed treason for profit, using the very men who trusted you as your instruments." The audience was on its feet, shouting, pointing, the order of the ceremony completely gone. "I did it for my country," Hayes screamed, his voice raw with madness. "To secure our energy independence. Sacrifices must be made for the greater good. He was a threat to national security. I did what had to be done. I am a patriot, a hero." Damien held up one last document on the screen. It was a signed directive. "This is the directive you sent to the chemical company, authorizing the use of their assets to pacify the region, using your authority as a retired admiral. You didn't do it for your country. You did it for your stock portfolio. You personally signed the order that would have killed hundreds of innocent civilians. This is your signature. This is your legacy." Hayes stared at his own signature, magnified 100 times. He began to laugh, a high, unhinged sound. "You can't prove a thing. That's a forgery. I will sue you. I will destroy you," he shrieked, spittle flying from his lips. A distinguished elderly man in a vice admiral's uniform stood slowly. "I can prove it, Jonathan. I was your deputy at Navspec Warcom. I recognize your signature. I also have the original draft of that order, which you told me to shred. I kept a copy because I knew, even then, that you were crossing a line from which there was no return. You are a disgrace to the uniform and to this nation." Hayes let out a final, guttural scream of denial as military police moved onto the stage. "It was my right, my duty," he sobbed as they handcuffed him. Agent Miller read Rostova her rights, while medics attended to Vance. The crowd recorded every moment, the sordid conspiracy laid bare for the world to see. Damien stood silently, watching as the traitors were led away, the weight of the truth finally settling over the chaos.